But all right, it is time for episode 21 of the Strawberry Milk Podcast. And you guys are going to notice something a little different this time. It is unfortunately just me for this episode. My lovely co-host, she has to work on Saturdays, unfortunately, and I kind of want to give her a break. Um, the old saying, like, if I'm tired, then like I know you're tired type of stuff. Like work, as you guys have heard in our previous episodes, it's very draining, especially with this fucking summer heat. And I was like, you know what? I have the Saturday off. I can get ahead of the recording, the posting, stuff like that. Catch up with our schedule. Sorry, 1 second. Penelope, please. Okay, so she was trying to attack the mouse. Um, give her a little bit of a well deserved break. You know what I mean? Um, but damn, I didn't realize that having a solo episode means that it's just you talking into the fucking microphone like a damn creature. I got one of the podcasts that I watch playing in the background muted. Penelope's here grooming herself. Good. Oh my God, Cat, I don't want to see all that, please. God, Jesus. Have you no shame, Penny? I mean, I guess you don't. You're a cat. But anyway, let's jump right into some topics. Fucking aliens are real. I mean, anyone that knows me, family, fucking close friends, acquaintances, random people that I saw blackout drunk at the bar just decided to fucking word vomit at. I've always believed in aliens. And if you guys really know me, you'll know that I truly believe that I had an encounter with an alien as a very young child, but I'm not going to really get into that. I'm going to wait until, Emily's here because I've told her the story, but I don't think I've like really actually told her the story and like everything that kind of happened, right? I didn't get fucking probed for anyone that's wondering. No, but like like I saw it like as a kid, like I fucking saw one with my own two both eyes. And I swear to God, like after the UFO hearings, right? Like I didn't tune into it. I don't really dig watching the live streams of like Senate hearings or like information, like I guess gatherings you'd call them. I'm not really sure what you'd call him. If it, well, he was. I don't know if he was before members of the Senate, but he was before official important people, I guess. Um, I always either just watch the highlights or I wait for like another like content creator, like a news focused like content creator or something like that to like break it down. Or if it's just a funny person on TikTok and I like their vibes, I'll watch their video. But I don't know. Now that the government's all but confirmed it, because what, like a few years ago we got the papers, right? Like whatever declassified papers, and I read a decent chunk of it. But for those of you that are, fellow ADHDers, you know how it is with fucking reading. Or actually, I don't know if we all have the same experience. Because for me, right, I'll pick up a book. I'll get about 2, 3 chapters in. It doesn't matter for me, it doesn't matter the length of the chapters because, like, I just wrapped up reading The Hobbit, and I'm gonna talk about that later in the episode. Um, Wrapped up reading The Hobbit. We have the 75th anniversary edition, so it's, like the preface, prologue, whatever the fuck you wanna call it, the actual tale of The Hobbit, and then it includes the first chapter of the Lord of the Rings, right? And all in all, that's about 300 pages. Well, it is 300 pages. It's not about 300 pages. And I went through that. It took me like, I want to say like a month, not of reading every day, because I'd pick it up, right? I'd read like a chapter or two or three a day, not pick it up for like 3 days, play some God of War, play some fucking games with our friends and stuff. And then, for 2, 3 days back to back, read, read, read. And then I wouldn't touch it for like a week or two and then read more. And then like sometimes I'd blast through like 6 chapters at a time and whatnot. But it was a very good read. But back to these fucking aliens, right? Why is it that every time, and maybe it's just the conspiracy theorist in me, why is it every time that the fucking government confirms something, I'm like, hmm, you know what I mean? Like I've believed, and I've seen other like content creators and shit on like YouTube and TikTok and fucking like Facebook and all that talk about. Yeah, yes, I'm an old man. I have a fucking Facebook. Talk about it, and they're like, why is it that I have believed in aliens my whole life, right? Because when you think about it, even from like an objective standpoint, the universe is too fucking huge. It's too big. There's too much space in space, if you will, for us to be the only things walking around. Like, not even on our level of intelligence, if you could even call it that, on a galactic scale. You know what I mean? Because human beings are intelligent relative to the things around them. You know what I mean? You don't see crows and cats and crabs and shit talking about calculus and the Pythagorean theorem and fighting climate change. They just exist. think about something else, like in a different galaxy, like an alien. Like, what would their intellect be on, right? Or would it simply be just like an animal walking around? Like, I don't know how many of you people have seen like the supposed leak photos from like a probe on Europa where it just shows this really ugly looking like shark or squid thing. Um, well, that's a side note, dude. If I had to bet on life within our solar system that's not us, I wouldn't bet on Mars. I'd bet on whatever's floating around down in the like icy oceans on Europa. Like even if it's like if they like go there and they send a probe down, and it's like a little tiny worm wiggling, I'd be like, fucking called it. But anyway, I've believed in aliens my whole life, right? And the government's like, here's some papers confirming like all these UFO, or they don't call them UFOs, they call them something else, like something terrestrial objects or some shit. But I'm just gonna call them UFOs. Um, and like eyewitness accounts, and there's been more UFO sightings around the world, and with every new social media app, and as the younger people, the younger generations, if you will, as they get more advanced technology in their hands at earlier stages, as they get more access to these social media things, we have more eyes on whatever the fuck is going on. Like, do you guys remember when like the UFO was over Vegas, right? For like a week. That's all you saw was everyone posting like different angles of the same thing. And then the thing floating around where these people called in and they said like something crashed in their backyard and they saw two figures like get up out the thing and they were like hiding behind the fence. There's like all kinds of like different breakdowns. My favorite one is this guy's name is Latinos Against oh, Jesus Christ, my wife's rubbing off on me. Latinos Against Spooky Shit. And he like talks about what's going on in the video, but it's from like a comedic standpoint. He's over here fucking like Sana Sana Corite or some shit like that. Um, it's funny. That's like his whole gimmick. But like I just every time they confirm it, I'm just like, ah, damn, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not what I thought, right? But if for some reason, years down the road, like that's the one thing I hope, like born too late to explore the world, even though given my skin complexion, I probably would have not been exploring the world freely. You know what I mean? And then born too soon to explore the stars outside of a video game, right? Because I'm recording this, what, Saturday? What the fuck is it? It's the 29th? Jesus Christ, where did this month go? Anyway, was it Starfield comes out September 3rd, and I've been on No Man's Sky since 2016, you know what I mean? But like that's the one thing I'm really hoping that life throws me a fucking bone and has aliens being confirmed, like actual they come down, someone talks to them, and they're like people of Earth. And whatever happens, whether it's going to be Independence Day or it's going to be like Muppets from Space where they just throw a concert and everybody's just moonwalking all over the stage, you know what I mean? Um, that's what I'm hoping. That's the one thing where, like, even if I'm like 95 years old on death's door, and like as I'm laying in my hospital room as the cancer's killing me, they're like, our first ever interview with fucking Schmelborp from the Quadrant System or whatever, and he's just like, yeah, man, it's pretty much the same on our planet. You guys have McDonald's, and we have just alien McDonald's, right? Space McDonald's. Yeah, I know that was a terrible joke. So I said that, and my fucking cat literally rolled her eyes at me. But anyway, moving on from that, dude. My wife and I just celebrated 3 years together, right? July 24th is our 3 year anniversary of being together, right? Because we got married September 9th, not within the same year. Obviously, there was some time between that, but the first year wedding anniversary is coming up, and I don't know, man. It's for me, right? Call me a fucking overthinker, which I am. I don't know. I like in no what I don't know. Oh my God, I wish she was here. She can help me think of the word that I'm thinking of. She's the brains in the relationship. I'm just the fucking the words, if you will. I am trying to. I can't. I don't know. I like to reflect. Is that the word? I like to think about shit a lot. Not that I have a choice. There's like 60 different conversations going on in my head at once. I think I've said it on this podcast before. When I think about shit or I have a conversation about something, it's like a dialogue tree in Fallout. And there's like 60 of those going on at once with music playing in the background. And then I'm thinking about everything that I've ever done wrong in my life ever. And I'm starting to think that I either got to start smoking more weed to keep this at bay or actually cave and microdose legal meth because that's what they prescribe for ADHD. But anyway, it's been, I don't know, it's been an experience, I'll call it. You know what I mean? I joined the military right out of high school after 5 years, right? Because I thought that's what I wanted to do with my life, be a 20-year man, 20+ year man. But as I got older, right, I just started thinking about different stuff in life that I wanted to try, and I was trying to see if I can blend the military with what I wanted to do in life. And unfortunately, the infantry divorce rate is damn near 100%. Like every year, that percentage just ticks up, 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 up. So I was like, if I want to have a shot at having a family, having, a lifelong partner, a shot at actual happiness, in my opinion, anyway, like for me, like actual happiness. Once I made this realization, always involved me being married to, someone that cares me. I care for them. Typical marriage shit. I don't want to get too mushy, or else I'll start crying because I'm thinking about her. Anyway, it's been great, honestly. Despite all the fucking crazy shit that's going on, the planet's heating up more. Fucking, it's triple digits where we live. Where growing up, it never really got above like 60 to like mid 70 degrees. Right, like I'm 25. Go back like not even fuck it. Go back 20 years when I was 5 years old. Right, at this point in the summer, it was really cold in the morning, like high 50s, low 60s, like really cold for us anyway. And like at the dead of night, you get into like the 40s and 50s. And then at the peak of the day, peak beach weather, peak tourist time, this time in July, all y'all are coming over here and putting all your fucking trash on my beach and shit like that. Like, oh my God, I fucking hate it. Like literally, we go to the beach and I'll find a spot and there's just fucking trash right there. And I'm like, okay, yeah, the trash can's not exactly next to you, but just carry it with you to the one that's off the sand, you lazy fuck. Anyway, not gonna get into that. It's hot, like it's actually fucking hot. It's like in the 80s and the 90s. I remember my first 80-degree day here, right? Because I lived with my mom growing up. And so we lived in like, oh, well, we lived here, but then we moved away. So like Bakersfield, Palmdale, shit like that. So I'm used, and I've seen my fair share of triple degree weather. But I remember I was, on summer vacation at my dad's chilling. My aunt takes us to the beach. And I distinctly remember her going, "What the fuck? It's like 80 something." Because that used to be rare. Like, I think like the hottest day before we had 104 degrees was like 90 something, like just shy of 100. And then it hit 100. And then it went to the 104. And to me, that's fucking ridiculous. But anyway, despite all the bullshit that's going on with life, I've had a lot of loss these past 3 years, familial, friends, otherwise, right? The economy's in fucking shambles. It's just sapping up all my savings that I had in hopes of putting a down payment on a house. But honestly, it's all worth it to me because I at least have my wife with me. You know what I mean? And no typical shit guy with a microphone starts getting all mushy, starts getting all introspect. I still don't know the fucking word that I'm actually thinking of. But she's made me happy in a lot of ways. Given me a better outlook on life, has brought a lot of the color back that has just been missing throughout the years, you know what I mean? Um I know I joke about it a lot here on the show and whatnot, but life was not really good growing up. Like, I'd come over to my dad's and everything. That was vacation time, and that'd give me an escape from everything that's, going on back home with my mom and stuff like that. But, even though there's good memories in a crappy situation, it's still a crappy situation. But anyway, she's helped me work through a lot of that. And her on, her end. Because we've all got, baggage at the end of the day. You know what I mean? For lack of a better, more elegant term for it. But anyway, I don't know. It's just I see everything that's going on around, right? And it is a crappy time to be alive. Like whatever side of the fucking political spectrum that you're on, right? The facts don't lie. And that is that we are in a worse economic situation than the Great Depression. Our money is worth less somehow. These motherfuckers were building shanty towns in the middle of Central Park back in the day, and my money that I'm making from our one-bedroom apartment with, compared to the rest of the world, luxurious things, right? Some family hand-me-downs, right? Or I'd call them heirlooms because I got this dope-ass handmade dream catcher that was my grandfather's that was made for him by a family member. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure my dad will text me after the end of after he listens to this episode on Monday because that's when this is getting posted, and he'll tell me who made it. He's told me 1,000 times. I have the fucking memory of a gnat with some shit. Um, and I don't know. If I didn't have her here with me, it'd be a lot more difficult. I can say that for sure. I can't say exactly where I'd be without her. But enough of that. Enough of my ramblings. Enough of my fucking emotional word vomit and stuff like that. Let's get into some other topics. But one last thing that I got to say about aliens. If these things actually get confirmed and we end up talking to them, and these motherfuckers are any shade of purple and they look like how I remember this thing looking, I am gonna fucking bust a tit, dude. I've been telling people for years what these things might look like. And you know when you're telling your friends some shit, right? And they don't outright disbelieve you, but they don't really believe you anyway. Like you tell people some shit and they're like, "Yeah, man, no, man, that's and damn, that's crazy, bro." And I'm like, "Oh, don't you fucking do that to me." But oh my god. It's just I can't wait. It's an exciting time to be alive, to say the least. Now, hold on, I gotta open up my little handy dandy notes app here because I actually have to think of things back to back to talk through to fill the segues to what we're gonna talk to about next, man. Oh my god, I don't have her here with me so that we can just bounce off of each other like a toddler you give too much sugar to. Um, but earlier, speaking about life throwing me a fucking bone, never. Never does, dude. I would get if I was a dog, I would get better treatment like living on like a farm on the outskirts and surviving off of whatever bones were thrown out there because guess what? They finally got you, boy. They finally got me. They got my ass on jury duty. Oh my god, that is something that I had hoped I could never that I would never actually have to do because I have like a lot of decent luck with like other stuff, you know what I mean? Like um, my wisdom teeth, like, while I have them, right, they're not like grown in wrong or they're not oversized. Like, they're really tiny. And so the dentists are like, yeah, you'll never really have to, you don't have to take these out. Like, that's weird, man, right? Don't really have bad luck in traffic. Like, I get caught in traffic, but like fucking accident free, ticket free. Like, my luck shows up in different ways. You know what I mean? Like, fucking fun fact, and this is probably going to piss off any of my military buddies that, listen to this, the veteran bros, bro. I never actually had to stand duty, like ever. 5 years, never once did I have to stand duty. It was funny as hell. And I was debating saying this to somebody. Well, I still had my fucking the inactive reserve time going up, but I was like, you know what? They'd probably pull a fucking meme or some shit and be like, you have to come back and stand 1 day of duty or some bullshit. But I'm free, motherfuckers, in every sense of the word. You can't get me. Yeah, 5 years, never standing duty, but somehow I get caught with fucking jury duty. Maybe that's my karma. Maybe that's my fucking cosmic comeuppance. But yeah, got the letter, right? They sent it to my dad's house at the same time that I got my tags, right? And I was like, you know what? No, maybe it's not jury duty. Maybe it's like something, right? Because I was under the impression, like, you know, when you're a kid and you get told like these things in school or by family members or something, and you believe it, right? Like dogs can't look up, which is stupid when you really think about it, because they can. They have eyes and neck muscles and all that shit. But I was under the impression that if you're not registered to vote, you cannot get called for jury duty. I thought that was like the thing. Like if you don't register to vote, you don't get called for jury duty. And so when I found this, or when I opened this letter and it's like, yo, report this date, I was pissed. But then again, from like all the show representations of jury duty and from other people that I've heard, they're like, no, you get paid for it. I'm thinking you get paid like your state's minimum wage, or you get paid like a decent amount of money. Nope, it's $15 a day where I'm at, and you don't get paid the first day, right? So the way it works for someone who hasn't had jury duty, right? You get the letter. It has your juror ID number. It has your group number, and then your general information. There's like a questionnaire that you can fill out and either mail in or bring in, because our government still operates on snail mail for some reason. But luckily, um, at least where I'm at, the government buildings and their websites and their programs or whatever they need you to fill out is all available online. We're very progressive with that, thank God. Um, anyway, you go online, you fill out your information, right? Like just where you live, a phone number they can reach you by. What is your juror ID number? Shit like that. Anyway, You can also ask to be excused. And here's me thinking like, oh, well, they're not going to fucking pay me. And also my job doesn't offer paid time off for jury duty. Like if I wanted to do that, I would have to use my vacation days, which I don't really think I have any because I just left my probationary period for, like a new hire thing. Um, or just not show up, lose out on the money, and take that sweet $15 a day, which they're probably just giving you to buy lunch in the fucking county building cafeteria, where a sandwich is like $13 anyway before tax. But besides all that, I was like, okay, well, where's the option that there's always the thing of like, oh, just lie and say that you're racist, right? Or like fucking say you believe in anarchy, or that you're gonna be like a hostile juror or some shit. Didn't see that option. I'm figuring that you just say that in person, like, "Oh, I'm racist" or something. Just get dipped out of jury duty. I'm not, for the record. The only person I really hate is myself. But anyway, that's not an option. So I fill out the financial hardship paperwork, right? And with that, you get a letter from your employer, and you can mail that in. In my case, I just uploaded it, scanned it on the old iPhone, and put it on there real quick. And I meant to do a clicking sound. I don't know. You know what? Here, let me take this time to take a drink break real quick and tell y'all what I'm sipping on here. Y'all hear that ice? That nice, delicious cold ice? It's an iced coffee, right? Because one thing about me, I'm a California boy, so I enjoy me my iced coffee. I never understood the people that drink black coffee. Like, when you're in the field and that's all you have, like the little freeze dried shitty coffee, just put that in some fucking water and shake it up. Okay, yeah, that necessity dictates that you have black coffee. But people that go to Starbucks, people that make coffee in their own home, and they just brew that shit straight out, like the Keurig just pisses it into a cup, and they're like, "Yep, can't wait to drink this." Like, dude, what the fuck? Put some milk in there, preferably oat milk. Put, I don't know, some fucking fruit. Put some alcohol in there, for Christ's sakes. Like, I'm pretty sure like a shot of JMO or Kahlua is gonna give it more flavor than just the hot bean water that it is. Like, how much do you hate yourself, or what do you think that you have going on in life that you can't put a little bit of fucking sugar in some coffee? It's in everything else. You might as well put it in the one thing that you actually enjoy, right? But anyway, you submit all your information on this little thing. You click that you're requesting an excuse from jury duty due to financial hardship. And this is where I kind of knew I was fucked, right? Because they ask you to put down how much you make a month. And I wasn't surprised by that, but like I just knew that I was fucked, right? Because if you know anything about California, is that we're expensive as fuck for no reason. And we live in one of the most expensive cities in here. I'm not going to say for no reason. All my family's here, and I'll be damned if I let gentrification and inflation kick me out of the place where, I was born and raised. But anyway, the guidelines for qualifying for stuff like low income housing, food stamps, and shit like that, it's really low compared to how much the actual cost of living is. Because, the government, they don't care about actual cost of living. All they do is they look at the surrounding areas, or they look at your surrounding area, and they add up a bunch of different places that are going for this amount of money, and they divide it by some other fucking number. And they're like, this is the average rent or whatever. That's how, when you live in a place where one bedroom apartments are like 2,000 plus on the cheap end, they're like, oh, the average rent's only like 1230 something. I'm like, where the fuck are they paying that at, right? And what I think is stupid is that in these calculations, they include low income housing. So the stuff that I'm not even qualified to qualify for, right, is getting used against me. And I just think that's stupid. But anyway, put in how much I made per month, put in number of dependents. In this case, it's one because it's my wife. Um, and then why I'm requesting this excuse for. And then I'm like, you know what? It says I still have to submit shit in writing. So the next day after work, I'm walking to meet Emily over at Target because we're going to do some grocery shopping, right? Because the way it works, we take the car, because she works like 2 streets over from me in the morning, right? We take the car. Um, I drive us to my job, hop out. She drives herself to her job. And then at the end of the day, I just go to like this random like parking lot because so she can drive over there. And then we go home. I drive us home. I call the next day. I'm like, yo, my name is, like whatever, whatever. Fucking my group number is this. I don't know my like badge number, juror ID number, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I'm just wondering because I filled out this application. I just want to know what the turnaround time will be, or if I still need to submit this thing in writing because I said I need to do that also, but I filled out all that same information online. She's like, no, you don't need to do that if you fill it online. You're good, right? I was like, oh, dope, sweet. I was like, and obviously I'm being a lot more cordial than this. I'm just trying to, for brevity's sake, I'm just breaking all this down. And she's like, no, I do have your information here. And that was like a whole 10-minute fiasco, right? Because my name is Felipe. You hear it, right? You hear that F at the beginning, right? Felipe. This bitch thought, and I do feel comfortable calling her a bitch because at the end she was just fucking snapping at me for no reason. This bitch thought it was spelled with an S. An S. How? The house way. How? Like, I'm standing there. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm spelling, like, I spelled this shit out phonetically, right? I was like, fucking, I was like, what is Fox Echo Lima India Papa Echo? I was like, they, she's like, oh, okay, I got it. Yeah, still not pulling it up. And I was like, did they get the wrong fucking Felipe so and so, right? And she's like, okay, let me just read your name back to you one more time, or else, we're not really going to be able to progress anywhere. And she goes, S-E. And I was like, I was like, wait, ma'am, wait. Are you saying S like Sierra? And she's like, S, yes, S like Sam. And I was like, no. I was like, what the fuck? And this is after I just said this is after I spelled it out using the military alphabet, basically, like doing it phonetically. I was like, Fox, F. F is in Fox, or fuck in this case. And she was like, oh, so I hear her fucking. She had to replace one letter, but I heard this bitch fucking bang that damn backspace button. Like she just fucking clicked that shit down. And she's like, okay, I have you right here. And she's like, yep, it says you've been denied. Like the way she said it and drug it out. If any of you guys watch South Park from like 2009 to 2012, the like when we were about to go into the recession. I think it was like 2012. It might have had this episode, but the whole thing, like, and it's gone, right? That like that's the tone and cadence that she said it, and she's like, and you've been denied. And I was like, what do you mean been denied from jury duty? She's like, no. Your request for an excuse has been denied. She's like, you make too much above the guidelines that you make, and I kind of figured that, right? Um, and I was like, "Well, is there anything that I can do?" Because I was like, "I literally cannot afford to miss more than like a day or two of work, or else I can't pay my fucking bills." You know what I mean? Because you have 2 days that you can report. I report on the 14th, and I either show up at 8 or 1, depending on my group. Like I have to call the weekend prior, call the like day prior, and they'll tell you like, "Hey, either show up at 8 or show up at 1." Right? Either way, you're showing up one of those two time slots. And then if you don't get assigned to something, you still got to go the next day. And I guess on that day, if you don't get assigned to something, then you're good. That's technically your jury duty, and all's well that ends well. And I'm like, you know what? I can tank 2 days, right? No problem. But with my luck, I'll get assigned to like a fucking multi part murder trial for someone I've never even heard of that lives here. And I was like, is there anything? I was like, I know you guys get guidelines sent down from the state and there's nothing you can really do. I was like, but is there any possible thing that can be done? Right? Is there any way that I was like, 'cause I was like, I'm going to be real with you. I cannot afford to do this if it goes beyond just the 2 days. You know what I mean? And she's like, well, sir, like I said, like this and that. She's like, it's just something that, people gotta like basically like talking down to me, like we all gotta make fucking sacrifices. Like, okay, one of us is a fucking well salaried, well, I'm not gonna say well, pretty decently salaried government employee, and the other one's me, right? Out here hooking and jabbing against bills that come at the same time every month, but how much they cost is always a surprise, even though it's the same amount. But anyway, I was like, "Is there anything else that can be done?" She's like, "Well, I guess I could push your date out a few months, and then you can write a letter to the judge, and the judge can be like either yay or nay." And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, I was like, "Is there anything else? Can I just go to the building and like talk to someone?" She's like, "No, sir. Like I said, this is your only option. If not, well, then you're gonna have to accept it." And I was like, "Accept it? What the fuck?" But anyway, at the end of the time, I was just like, you know what? That sounds like a fucking waste of time. I'm just gonna show up. So yay me. But anyway, enough about jury duty. I'm tired of fucking talking about that already. Like every time I think about it, man, it just pisses me off. Like, why me? Right? Anyway, in a better turn of news, my father, after God knows how long, has finally got the like this old. It's a really old truck, right? It's a blue. I want to say like 83, 84 Toyota, right? Anyway, it's an old truck, got a lot of great memories in it. It's all fixed, it's ready to go, it's up and running. And now, at this big age of mine, at 25 years old, a quarter century, I am finally potentially going to be learning how to drive a stick shift vehicle. Let me tell you, I am both excited, right? Because that means I'll finally learn how to, drive a car that's been in my family much longer than I've been alive, and that spent a lot of time in, like going to different fishing spots, just going on different trails, just driving around and whatnot. Like it's got a snug top on it, right? So the tailgate, there's like an old mattress back there, like old pillows and shit like that. Like as kids, um, my sister on my dad's side and myself, we'd get to ride back in there, right? And it'd be like going for like errands, like we'd be going to Walmart to get groceries or some shit. He's like, "You want to ride in the back?" And we're like, "Yeah, right." The thing about these old ass trucks is, well, there's not a lot of comfort in mind with them if you're not in the driver or passenger seat, right? And so there's like, I think it's like I don't know. I can't remember, like, after being in this fucking thing for years, I can't remember if the tailgate has, like, a piece of wood over it, like, like, a big, like, thing of, like, plywood or some shit over just the mattress. But anyway, if you go over, a like a bump in the road or, like, the railroads or some shit, like, and you're a child, that shit would launch you in the air. One of my favorite memories, and, albeit it was painful, right? We were going to Walmart, and, like the speed limit for a street, it's like 40, 45-ish miles per hour. And my dad says, "Hey man, we're going over there's a particular railroad crossing that's kind of bumpy because, the government doesn't maintain all the streets that aren't near like a government building or um, like a nice residential area. So like, and I'm pretty sure you guys have this in like whatever town you're in, railroad crossing, right? You see all oh shit, I just hit the microphone. You see all the like signs, all the like tracks and shit like that, and you see the tracks that go from being normal railroad tracks to like the different looking ones that go through the street. You know what I mean? And you always can either have a very smooth transition with the asphalt, or if they have the fucking apprentice on there that day, there's like a big lip that goes over. It looks like a little like it looks like it's literally like a lip. Instead of it being level with the tracks, it's like a lip. So when you drive over it, it's like a bump or it creates a dip. A dip. That's what I was trying to fucking say. Jesus Christ. So anyway, he's like, "Hey, hold on back there," which I don't know what the fuck I'd hold on to. He's like, "We're going over the railroad track." And before I could say, "Okay, Dad," he fucking hit the thing. Like he didn't speed up. At least I don't think he did. He's never told me. He didn't speed up on purpose. So as "Okay, Dad" was leaving my mouth as a kid, fucking the truck like dips down and bucks up in the back, and I get launched off this fucking match. I hit the top of the snug top. Like I hit that bitch and fell back down. It's fucking that shit hurted, dude. Oh my god, like little kid knees, arms, because like I got bucked up, so my head like flung back, right? So I gave myself like mini whiplash, and then my arm was up because my dumb ass was like, "Oh, I can just my arm's long enough, I can just touch the top." You know what I mean? And I fucking just hit that shit into it, and then, like, my body hit it, and then when I fell back down, I put my arm out to break my fall, right? Like, not, like, straight out, right? Like, I knew what a break fall was at this point from, like, my fucking mini stint in karate as a kid. God, I hated that. My mom just threw me in there for no fucking reason. I don't even know why. But anyway, um, I, like, did that, but, like, the force from which I was coming down and how thin and old and decrepit this fucking mattress was that was in the back. Like, I think we swapped it out once, or like we swapped out some of the pillows that were back there. Like, my elbow just like went, hit, and I hit the bottom. So, like, if it was the plywood or the tailgate. And my dad's like, "Are you okay back there, man?" Like, he's just asking, like, thinking everything's funny because he just saw me like fucking eat shit in the car. And I was like, "Yeah." Like I tried to say yeah as normally as possible, and I'm like on the verge of tears because I just like smacked my shit in the back of this fucking rocket going down the street. But yeah, gonna get to learn to drive it, and I'm looking forward to it. But seeing the different problems that have come with the gears, right? Because this is my thing, right? Whenever, or at least growing up, because stick shift cars were still kind of a thing. Because I was born in '97, so I'm assuming like the fucking 3 years of the 90s that I was alive for. And then like the early 2000s, it was still, stick shift and like automatic cars. While they had already been a thing, they were still kind of working out some kinks and becoming more commonplace than, like the old beaters at the time they get passed down. Like, here, Sonny, you're 16. Go drive this fucking 6'4" Impala, which I would fucking give an arm and a leg for. Um, Me personally, right? Because Impala, like the classic looking Impalas, or even like the newer ones, I don't know if it's discontinued or not. It's like one of my favorite, just like everyday cars, if you could say that, like a domestic model. But anyway, like when someone gives you an automatic car, it's like, yeah, the I don't know, the oil pressure's not good, so don't take it on the highway. Or like I need an alignment or some shit, right? But if you're driving someone else's stick shift car, like it seems like even when they're brand new, they start giving you like a whole instruction manual on how to drive this thing. It's like, oh yeah, man, fucking it likes to fucking idle high. So you gotta be really careful when you're letting off the clutch when you put it into first so you can start driving. And also second gear skips, third gear grinds, fourth gear likes to fucking, I don't know, take its time, and then the fifth gear doesn't exist because I took that shit off. And it's like, what are you talking about? What the fuck do you mean? What is it? What do you mean it grinds, right? Because it's like when you fuck up shifting, like either you're not at a high enough RPM, right? Or if you just actually fuck up the shift, right? Like you dump the clutch too much or whatever, you make the gears grind and stick. It's like that's like, oh no, it just takes its time shifting. What the aren't you control? Isn't the whole thing of a stick shift car like, oh, I can feel my vehicle. I'm in control of my vehicle, right? Me and my car are one. Like, what the fuck do you mean, dude? Right? Like everyone describing their stick shift car and what they have to do and like what's the sweet spot to operate it sounds like a parent justifying their badass kid at the family function. It's like, he's all right. He just likes to scream a little bit. Or like, he doesn't usually bite. Usually, motherfucker, he shouldn't be biting at all. You know what I mean? But I can imagine it's gonna lead to some hilarious things because I know how it's gonna go because this is how the dynamic has always worked, right? Because um my dad with my sister and I, it was never right a like a, oh, you're a boy so you do this first, right? Like when my sister and I were learning how to swim, if we wanted to go on like a ride or like playing like the bigger waves at the beach or something, right? It was never like, oh, well, you do it first, right? It's like, all right, who's going first, right? Or he'd like just if it was like the pool, it just pushes both in, right? The illusion of choice. But this is how it's always gone. He asks, all right, so who wants to go first or who wants to do this first, right? And in your little kid mind, like like time is relative, right? So in the 2 seconds it takes him to ask that question, there's the 2 second, like a second or two of a delayed response. And this is how it's always worked between my sister, my dad's side, and myself, right? He'll ask the question. We'll look at each other real quick, and in those sad little, I don't know, puppy dog eyes that Brianna, my sister, does sometimes, right? She doesn't want to go first because she's got anxiety about the thing. So she's like, Phil, please, right? Like you gotta do this. And it's the implicit communication. You know what I mean? It's like, you're going first. Like it's already been decided for me. She's like, you're going first, motherfucker. So I'm always like, yeah, I'll do it, right? Like when we did bungee jumping at the fair one time, I love bungee jumping. It was so much fun. Um, it was like, you guys want to do it, right? And then I was like, hell yeah, I'll do it, right? And then Rihanna chickened out. I don't know if she did it later, but anyway. So I know this is how it's gonna be. It's gonna be us going around the block, maybe, right? Like that's gonna show us, right? Driving like, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. We're gonna pull over somewhere, and he's gonna be like, all right, who's doing it first? And it's gonna be me. I'm gonna hop in that fucking thing, and it's gonna be either Brianna in the middle seat or my dad in the middle seat, and then Brianna in the passenger seat. And I swear I can hear it now. The level of backseat driving that is gonna happen from her, I'm gonna lose my fucking shit, dude. I'm gonna explode. My dad's gonna be able to hear my blood pressure rising with what it's gonna happen, right? Because it's going to be embarrassing, right? I'm either going to grind a gear, I'm going to miss a shift, or I'm going to stall the vehicle outright, which it's all part of the learning process. You got to have a bunch of failures in order to get good at something. But the shit talking that's going to come from my sister, I swear to God, it's going to make me punch like a tree or something. That's how pissed off it's going to make. And we do this to each other, right? When she's up doing something, I'm there talking shit within reason, right? But oh my God, it's going to be a hilarious. I can't wait to give you guys updates on that. and for me to truly test my manhood and be able to fucking press multiple buttons at one time and shift a stick so that the car goes vroom vroom. But anyway, it's gonna be an experience, and it's really gonna show the duality of our two learning styles. But speaking of duality, I've noticed something recently. A lot of y'all motherfuckers aren't really on this dark mode wave like I thought you would be, and I just want to know what's up with that. Right? Like my wife doesn't use dark mode. And for those of you that aren't familiar with dark mode, right? It's a thing that goes with phones, right? To where, like Google has a white background, it's a white UI. And like other apps have that as well. Like Insta has like a white UI and stuff like that. You have an option to where you can just make everything black, right? So instead of being black on white, it's white on black, and I prefer that. I'm the dude that has like the eye shielding on his phone all the time, so my screen looks orange anyway. Um, but I don't know. I just like the dark mode. I like things to be a nice darker color. I'm able to not see things easier because I can see it the same either way, but it just looks cooler. Like that's the wave you got to be on, right? Like I don't know. It's like it's like seeing somebody that orders a hamburger instead of a cheeseburger. Like, dude, what the fuck is it? Like, if you're not lactose intolerant, and even then, most lactose intolerant people have no regard for their own life, and they will eat that piece of cheese, even though they know that they're going to be praying to God to fucking come down and save them like an hour later. Anyway, like when I see someone that doesn't have dark mode, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you, right? My wife doesn't use it. And at lunch, I noticed that a few of my coworkers don't use it, like from glimpses of what's going on at their phones. And I'm like, what the fuck, right? And so I started paying attention at like Target or like Walmart or stuff when we're like walking around. And I've noticed that a bunch of people don't use it. So am I the weird one? Penelope, help me out here. You're over there fucking looking at me, your little cat face. Am I the weird one, cat? She flicked her ear at me. I'm gonna assume yes. Like I don't even know if my dad used. No, I don't know. I think I told him about it. I'm not sure. I don't even know if any of my siblings use it. I'm pretty sure my brother does. Um, thank God, right? But what are you doing? Why do you want to sear your fucking retinas, especially for you fucking crack addicts? That the first thing that you do when you wake up is you reach for your phone and you see what you missed, and I'm 100% guilty of that. But the first thing I do, I don't open a social media app or something like that. I'm like, okay, who texted me? Who sent me like a snap, which I don't know. I don't count Snapchat as social media. It's just like another messaging app for me. I'll check my messenger. I'll see what like fucking emails came through because sometimes it's like a deal, or seeing if it's like anything from like the apartments coming up or like any of my Google alerts or whatnot. And then after that, then for like 5 minutes before I start getting up to get ready for work, I'll like scroll through TikTok, or like I'll see what's going on Facebook, or see what's going on Insta or some shit. But to do all of that on the brightest, because some of y'all motherfuckers have your screen brightness up to the max, no matter what you're doing. You can be in a dark ass room and then you open it and you're like, oh my God, my eye. Like you've done this to yourself, bro. Like, congratulations, you played yourself. Call me DJ Khaled or some shit. Like, what? Why? Absolutely. Why? Right? I don't understand it. And it's just give your eyes a break, man. Use the cooler layout. Use the cooler UI. And speaking of UI, I don't know if you guys are as hyped for this iOS 17 update that we got coming out. We got some new emojis. They're finally going to get rid of all these obtrusive ass things on my keyboard and my screen. Like the battery notification is finally just going to be like a little pop up instead of taking up the whole screen, and you can't even exit out of it unless you click specifically close. Like you can't swipe it away. They're getting rid of all the little iMessage apps being above your keyboard, so my fat thumbed ass can stop accidentally opening a GIF. And I realize, fuck, I'm not typing in the message. I'm typing it into GIF. Um, so it's going to be pretty dope. And I am very quickly running out of things to talk about. So I think I'm just going to start transitioning to the end of this episode. It's going to be a bit of a shorter one. I just wanted to do this to try to see if I can get, just build my confidence up for in case I ever have to do like another solo episode, and to get used to just doing things production wise by myself. And kind of getting in the headspace or something like that. Because, like I said in the previous one, for our year anniversary, we are going to be transferring to video. That's something I'm very excited about. There's a bunch of tutorials I've been looking up about how to do like basic level animations to layer on top of your video. for when I start editing that. I want to see if I can get my hands on like a decent green screen. If not, we have a lot of little knickknacks and collectibles around the house that we can use to decorate. That way, we're not just sitting at a table or sitting at a couch and there's nothing there if we don't have the green screen. You know what I mean? But yeah, keep a lookout for that. And actually, no, one last talking point. It always seems like it's the end of the year for me that stuff happens, right? Like, you'll go through New Year's and you get through like the first half of the year because, during the first half of the year, um, the only thing that really goes up, right, is like birthdays, right? It's like my brother's stepfather's, not my brother, my sister on my mother's side's birthday, right? My stepfather's birthday, my father's birthday, my mother's birthday. Um, Other like family members, but like everyone's birthday that's in there. I was like, who should I name next? And there's just too many fucking people to name. And then like the latter half of the year, that's when like the movies are coming out. It's like, your own birthday because yes, I'm a self-centered person. I treat my birthday like it's a fucking holiday now that I'm in the spirit of celebrating again for because the longest time I didn't. Like when I first got out and I first started, Emily and I first started dating, she threw me like a birthday party. It was really nice. It was really sweet. I had a lot of fun. It's one of my happier memories. But like specifically for like 2023, right? Like we just had Barbie and Oppenheimer come out, and also make sure to check us out for our movie review of that, the Barbenheimer double feature. This is coming out on Monday, and the movie review will have been put out before then. But yes, it was late again. But with those movies, we really wanted to take our time and organize our thoughts because while both deal with different aspects of life and like what's happening or happened in the world, they both do have a lot of talking points. They raise, I guess, a lot of self questions that you can ask yourself. There's a lot on the table for discussion with these movies outside of our normal formula. So we really wanted to take our time with that, and we hope that you guys enjoy that. But anyway, like with the end of this year, like there's a lot of better movies coming out, like the TMNT movie and shit like that. A bunch of different games, like Starfield's coming out, fucking Return to Moria's coming out, shit like that. Whatever the mystery Call of Duty of this year is gonna be. Not really a big COD guy like I was back in the day, but looking forward to that. But anyway, I'm gonna stop wasting y'all's time and I'm going to get into my song of the week. And for me, I feel like, like I said, this year's the year of Freddie Gibbs and whatnot. I feel like I haven't been really varied on my music because really I've been more on a podcast wave this year. Like, I get to work in the morning, I pop in my headphone, I start playing like whatever, and I'm like listening to all of their episodes on whatever the new podcast that I'm in. Like right now, I'm listening to Crash Dummies, and they're on like episode 111. And so as the new episodes come out, I'll listen to that. But then I go back and I'll start listening to the backlog, right? Like I've listened to all of T-Pain's, I've listened to most of Poor Minds, I've listened to I've been with Drew's. She's a TikTok creator that now has like her own shows and stuff like that. She's really funny. She makes fun of like terrible people, which is funny as hell to me. But anyway, I am gonna leave y'all with I don't know. It's just it's a fun song for me. I like it. Like when I'm in the shower holding concerts by myself, or like I'm cleaning, or I'm out there cooking or playing Overwatch with the boys, and I just want to like have something going in my ears. I usually put on my own little playlist. But anyway, the song is called 90 Proof, and it's Smino featuring J. Cole, right? J. Cole, one of my favorite rappers of all time. And Smino, really, he's I first heard a single of his. I can't remember what it was, but then T-Pain talks about him quite a bit on his podcast. Like not like outright like what's going on with his life, but like, oh, he's doing, something different with his voice. He's like doing a different wave in the music game and not particularly just the rap game. But anyway, it's a nice song. I enjoy it. Whenever it comes up on my like songs, I'm like, how the fuck did this get here? As if I didn't intentionally place those there. But anyway, if you guys have made it this far to the end of the podcast and you didn't be like, oh, this guy's just rambling and he fucking sucks, like a typical dude just by himself with a microphone. Like there's a million of me out on the internet. I don't give a fuck. Thank you for making it this far. Thank you for everyone that's following us, subscribe to us, or anyone that's just supporting us in any way, shape, or form. Like I said, we have a lot of fun with this, right? It's a great hobby. It's a great bonding experience for my wife and I. And it's just, I don't know, at the end of the day, it's just really fun to sit down and do something together and to know like at least some people are enjoying it as well. That's really dope. But throw us a follow, give us a like, subscribe to us, and I will see you guys next time.